Welcome. In this video, we will demonstrate how Script Validator works and how you can create and assign validators to Jira fields. Before we start the demonstration, a few general words about the plugin. The primary goal of the Script Validator is to allow you to write any JavaScript code that can run on a Jira form, whether in the back office or on the Jira Service Management forms. Each JavaScript code snippet needs to connect to a specific Jira field, but it can also interact with other fields if desired. This allows you to write simple or more complex cross-validations, and the validator will block the creation of the Jira ticket if the conditions are not met. Each validator has a unique error message that can be displayed either below the field or at the top of the form. There are future plans to allow you to specify which actions trigger the validator. Currently, the validator only runs before Jira issue creation, but in the future, we aim to expand this functionality. We recommend that if you are not familiar with JavaScript coding, you use ChatGPT to help write the appropriate code you need. To give you a clearer understanding of how the plugin works in its current form, let's take a look at a practical example. First of all, imagine this situation. We have two input fields. The first is for the email address, and the second is for the telephone number. There's also a radio button that determines your preferred contact method for the help desk. If the radio button is set to email, the email field becomes required. If set to telephone, the telephone field becomes required. Let's take a look at our example Jira form. Press and hold Alt plus V buttons to reveal all the field's real values. It will help you to create the appropriate scripts. If the current user is a Jira administrator, a member of the SV Basic group, and there is at least one validator assigned to the form, you can use the following function. In this case, a max-length validator is assigned to the summary field. Now let's see what the value of the preferred contact radio button will be if we select email and then phone. We can see that the email code is 10200 and the phone code is 10201. Now, let's create a user, for example, Jira User 1, and add them to the SV Basic group so that the validators apply to them. Now, let's open the Script Validator configuration panel. So, we can create one validator that handles the validation of both fields. Let's create it and call the validator Required for Contact. Start by creating the core and writing the script. We have to define two fields. One will be the radio group, and the other will be either the email or phone field, depending on the association. In order to insert a dynamic field, just click the Add Dynamic Field button to add a new field. When it appears, just click it to insert it into the script creator box when you need it. In addition, you can click the Add Dynamic Value button to add a new value, which will be assigned during association. If the field or value association is incomplete or is completely deleted, the button will disappear. Let's take a look at what this script does. The script first checks if the value of dynamic field 0 is equal to the value of dynamic value 0. If they are equal, it then checks if dynamic field 1 has a length greater than 0. If so, the script returns true. Otherwise, it returns false. If the initial condition is not met, the script simply returns true. The script is completed. Now let's fill in the other fields. The name is Required for Contact. Now let's create the error message. The message will be the following: the associated field is required. Since this is a validator template, we cannot define the email address or phone number field directly, only that the field is required. So set the insert mode to Name and set the target to the error message. The error message target is field, so that the error message appears below the target field. The goal of the description is to explain how the validator works and how to configure it properly. Now, let's enter description. Great. Now we can test it. Slide this button and fill in the two test fields. The value of dynamic field 0 is 10,200, dynamic value 0 is also 10,200, and value of dynamic field 1 remains empty. Clicking the Run Script button will show the result. Error message is, the dynamic field 2 field is required. Now let's write something to the dynamic field 1 and click Run Script again. Now the result is true. Everything has been done, so just click the Verify Script button to enable the Save button. Finally, save the completed validator. Now that we have the validator, it's time to associate it with the form. First, choose a project under Assign Validators using Jira Projects to choose Project 1, and then under Project Issue Types, choose the Incident subtype. On the left, we can see the available validators. There, choose Required for Contact. In the Validator Script section, we can see the validator's script code, which helps us correctly configure the validator and assign specific dynamic fields to the corresponding fields. In the Validator Description field, we can find a description of how to use and configure the validator. However, for now, we are skipping the description. Let's create two associations from our created validator. In the Issue Fields section, select the Preferred Contact field, which will be equal to the dynamic field 0 field. The target field becomes pageable. Let's navigate to the next field and click on the Email field, which will now correspond to dynamic field 1. As mentioned earlier, the value of the email field is 10,200, and this is the value we need to enter in the dynamic value 0 field. The chosen issue fields will appear as options in the Validator main field. We choose email because the error message will appear under the selected field, and in this case, we target the email field. Now, let's select from Available Screens where we want the validator to work. In this case, we select the Edit and Create Screens. Finally, save the completed validator association. In the list of assigned validators, you can see the already finished and assigned validators to the correctly selected Jira project and issue type. Now this will be added to this list. Be aware that you can't create a new validator by modifying an existing one. Discard it and start a new one. Next, choose Required for Contact again. In the Issue Fields section, select the Preferred Contact field, which will be equal to the dynamic field 0 field. The target field becomes pageable. Let's navigate to the next field and click on the Phone field, which will now correspond to dynamic field 1. As mentioned earlier, the value of the phone field is 10,201, and this is the value we need to enter in the dynamic value 0 field. The chosen issue fields will appear as options in the Validator main field. We choose Phone because the error message will appear under the selected field, and in this case, we target the Phone field. Now, let's select from Available Screens where we want the validator to work. In this case, we select the Edit and Create Screens. Finally, save the completed validator association. Everything is done. Now let's test our validator associations on the Jira form. Now, let's log out from Jira and log in with the user Jira User 1, whom we have created earlier. Let's select the email radio value and try to create the form. We will see that the validator, which is assigned to the email field, is blocking the form creation and shows the error message that we set up earlier. Now let's select the phone radio value and try to create the form again. We will see that the validator, which is assigned to the phone field, is blocking the form creation again. The error message has also changed. The phone field is now required. Well, this would be a brief introduction to the script validator. Of course, the validations can be further refined, for example, by making the radio button selection mandatory or applying regular expressions to the email and phone fields. The possibilities are vast, and only our imagination sets the limits. We hope this video was useful and helped you understand the functionality of the plugin. Thank you for watching, and we hope you found this demo helpful. If you have any questions or need further assistance, feel free to reach out. Have a great day.